Right. Yeah. So who was Sanjaya? He was near the king. Anish says correct. He was near the king. Who was the king? King was Dhritarashtra. Vijay Lakshmi Matapati is saying, who was telling everything happening on the battlefield of battlefield to Dhritarashtra, correct. So Sanjaya was listening to whatever is happening on the battlefield of Kurukshetra because Vyasa Prasadat Shrutavan. Sanjay is telling in the end of Bhagavad Gita, Vyasa Prasada Shrutavan, by the mercy of my Guru Vyasadeva, I could listen to whatever is happening on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Like nowadays we have this telephone. You just call a number and you can talk to people who are far, far away. So in that times, 5,000 years ago, although there is no telephone, but there was a medium by which you can converse. This telepathy. Telepathy is a subtle way of communication. By yogic power, you can communicate with people sitting far, far away. So Sanjaya had this capacity to listen to whatever is happening on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and he was narrating it to Dhritarashtra. So Sanjaya heard it and spoke to Dhritarashtra. So this is in brief about what is Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is also a part of a great book called Mahabharata. Bharata means India. Mahabharata means the great India. The history of the great India is called as Mahabharata. So Mahabharata contains about 1 lakh shlokas. 1 lakh. Mahabharata is the biggest book in the entire creation. Nobody has written a book of such volume, so many stories, so many interconnections, so many characters. Impossible. One of the Western philosophers came to India and he studied this one book, Mahabharata. After studying this, his conclusion was that this book is not written by any ordinary man. This book must be written by God because this story is so intricate, so complex, so wonderful lessons that this is not a creation of ordinary mortal. This book is composed by God himself. So Maharshi Vyasadeva, he wrote this Mahabharata, and Vyasadeva is an incarnation of Lord Krishna, literary incarnation. Like Lord Krishna comes in different forms. He comes as Lord Ramachandra, Lord Vamana, or Narsimha, half man, half lion. Similarly, he comes as Vyasadeva to write the Vedas. So Vyasadeva compiled Mahabharata, and Ganesha was the scribe who wrote Mahabharata. You can see in this photo, Vyasadeva is dictating and Ganesha is writing. Vyasadeva requested somebody that I want somebody who can scribe it because I'm going to speak and somebody I need to scribe. And who will be ready? So nobody is volunteering. Finally, Ganesha said, I will volunteer. I will write. But Ganesh put a condition that I will write, but you should dictate without any pause. The dictation should be continuous. So then Vyasadeva also put a condition that I will dictate, but you should understand every statement and then you should write. So in between, Vyasadeva used to compile certain very difficult shlokas, which are difficult to understand, which are like riddles. And Ganesha will take time to think about those riddles. And then in the meanwhile, Vyasadeva will compose further shlokas. And then he will start dictating again. So in this way, whole Mahabharata was compiled. And as part of Mahabharata, the 700 shlokas at the beginning of the battle, right, at the beginning of Bhishma Parva, so that is Bhagavad Gita, that discussion. So Bhagavad Gita appears as one of the episode of Mahabharata. And it is said that Bhagavad Gita is the essence of Mahabharata. Bharatamrita sarvasvam Vishnu Vaktrad Vinisatam. So Bharata Amrita Sarvasam, just like milk, when you boil it, you get the essence, which is the cream. Similarly, Mahabharata, the essence of Mahabharata is Bhagavad Gita, which is like the cream. And it's a great philosophical and religious dialogue at the war field. It's very interesting that discussion is happening on the war field. Okay. Just a minute. There is some comment here. Is there a audio problem? Am I audible clearly? It's clear? Okay, thank you. No problem. So when I can check, you can maybe use a headphone so that you can hear clearly. Okay, thank you. So it's a great philosophical and religious dialogue at the war field. When I was attending school, in my school days, my teacher used to say, pen drop silence, don't make any noise. So that's what my teacher used to say. Because if there is noise in the class, teacher gets distracted and he cannot speak. Everybody wants pin drop silence. But here Krishna is speaking Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. And what is the battlefield? Battlefield means full of noise, full of disturbance. There are horses, there are elephants, there are chariots. The rattling of the chariot wheels is heard everywhere. So there's a chaos, and there are conch being blown, there are drums being beaten, and there are war cries. Akraman! War cries are also happening. So in this way, there's so much chaos everywhere. In between the chaos, Krishna and of course the battle has not yet started. Both parties are observing each other, and but it's still a chaos. Animals are making sounds, and people are there, weapons are there. So in the middle of this chaos, Krishna is speaking Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, and Arjuna is in full attention, rapt attention, hearing Bhagavad Gita, because Arjuna is in great need. He wants to know this knowledge. Now, so sometimes when we say, please read Bhagavad Gita, the other person says, I have no time. Sometimes in December month, on Gita Jayanti day, we go to distribute Bhagavad Gita to people. And some people say, I'm very busy, sir, I'll read later. I'll read later. But Arjuna, although being so busy, he was the commander-in-chief of the army. It means he was the main person. Drishtadyumna was the commander-in-chief, but Arjuna was the main person who was, he will decide the victory or defeat, right? It depends on him. So, such an important person, he's taking out time to understand Bhagavad Gita. So, the lesson we can learn from this is that although we may also be very busy, but we should also take out time to understand Bhagavad Gita. So, I'm very grateful to all of you here who have come in this big number, close to 100 people, and trying to understand Bhagavad Gita. So, I'm very thankful to all of you. And this was spoken by Lord Krishna to Arjuna. Right? Arjuna received and realized the instructions. And after realizing these instructions, Arjuna did his duty as a king and he emerged victorious in the battle. Okay. So a small point about the number 18 in Bhagavad Gita. There are 18 parvas in Mahabharata. Right? Just like any book has got chapters or divisions. So there are 18 parvas in Mahabharata, each parva containing many chapters. And Bhagavad Gita has 18 chapters. There are 18 Akshohini army in the battlefield. One Akshoni is a unit of army containing thousands of elephants, thousands of horses, thousands of chariots, and lakhs of infantry. So that is one Akshoni actually. So there are 18 Akshoni, 11 Akshoni belonging to Duryodhana, Kauravas, and 7 Akshohini belonging to Pandavas. So comparatively, the army of the Kauravas was much bigger than the Pandavas. Pandavas were very few. Right? Pandavas were only 5, Kauravas were 100. Pandavas were only 7 Akshohini, Kauravas were 11 Akshohini. So the chances of winning was very less. But still, Arjuna or the Pandavas emerged victorious. The reason being they had faith in God. They believed in the words of Krishna and they emerged victorious. And the battle was fought, the Kurukshetra battle was fought for 18 days. In the beginning of the first day, Bhagavad Gita was spoken. And that day was Ekadashi. Mokshada Ekadashi, which generally comes in the month of December. So the day of Mokshada Ekadashi day, for 18 days, this battle happened, and after 18 days, Pandavas emerged victorious. So this is the scene. So Krishna and Arjuna on the battlefield. Of course, this is after Arjuna heard Bhagavad Gita. He's already started fighting. Before the beginning of the battle, Arjuna was in anxiety. He was putting his head down. He says, Brahmati vacha me manaha, nimittani cha pashyami, viparitani keshava. He says, my head is reeling, my hand is sweating, my throat is drying up, right? And he says that I'm all seeing all inauspicious things everywhere. So I cannot fight, he says. So Gandiva, he keeps it down and he says, I cannot fight. So at that time, Krishna, as a very good friend of Arjuna, he encourages Arjuna. He inspires Arjuna to do his duty. And inspired by Krishna's talk, Arjuna again gets confidence. In the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna was despondent, he was depressed. At the end of Bhagavad Gita, he became inspired and confident. Right? At the end of Bhagavad Gita, he says this shloka, he says, my doubts are vanquished and I will do whatever you say. Karishye vachanam tava, he says. In the beginning, he said, I will not fight. But in the end, he said, Karishye vachanam tava, I will do whatever you say, Krishna. So in this way, Arjuna became ready. So Bhagavad Gita gives confidence to those who lack confidence. Bhagavad Gita gives positivity to those who lack positivity. Right? Bhagavad Gita gives strength to the weak. Bhagavad Gita gives strength to the mind. Right? So it gives food for thought to the intelligence. So Bhagavad Gita satisfies us at all levels, right? Mental level, intellectual level, and also at the level of spirit. Gita Mahatmya, verse 1 says, Gita Shastra Vidam Punyam Yahapatet Preta Puman Vishnoha Padam Avapnoti Bhayashoka Divarjitaha. This Bhagavad Gita is Punyam, very auspicious. Yahapatet Preta Puman Vishnu Padam Avapnoti. Somebody who chants this Bhagavad Gita, understands this Bhagavad Gita, enters the abode of Lord Vishnu. He can enter the highest planet, spiritual world. Bhaya Shoka Divarjitaha, and he'll be free from fear, lamentation, etc. Illusion, lamentation, all these things are freed from his life. Correct? So Bhagavad Gita is spoken by Lord Sri Krishna, and Lord Sri Krishna is not an ordinary personality. He is the supreme personality of Godhead. From him comes all knowledge. Right? You see this photograph here? So Krishna gave this knowledge to Brahmaji. Brahmaji gave this knowledge to Naradji. Narada to Vyasa, Vyasa to Madhvacharya. Madhvacharya came many acharyas, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, Srila Prabhupada ji, and then all of us, we are also getting this knowledge in Parampara. So because this knowledge is coming directly from Krishna, it is perfect. There is no mistakes in this knowledge. Krishna is absolute means that he is not different than his name, form, qualities, and pastimes. Krishna is not different than his words, Bhagavad Gita. He is the same. Ya Swayam Padmanabhasya Mukha Padmarvinisritaha. So this Bhagavad Gita has come from his lips. Just like Ganga Devi comes from the toes of Lord Krishna. When Lord assumed the form of Vamana, he lifted his feet and it pierced the layers of the universe, and from there came water, Viraja Nadi, that washed the lotus feet of the Lord, and that becomes Ganga, and that comes down to Himalayas and then flows to Ganga Sagar. So just like Ganga came from the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu, similarly, Bhagavad Gita came from the lotus mouth of Lord Krishna. So Bhagavad Gita purifies us. The touch of Ganga also purifies us. So those who take bath in Ganga get purified. Similarly, those who take bath in Bhagavad Gita also get purified, sanctified. Supreme Lord is beyond any material defects, free from illusion and contamination. Like when I do some experimentation, there may be faults in my experimentation because I'm imperfect. But when Lord gives some knowledge, that is perfect. Like for example, if you have a device, an electronic device, if you try to experiment and find out what are the components in the device, you may make some mistakes, right? You will do reverse engineering, open everything up and find out what are the chips inside, what are the circuits inside, what are the memory cards used, what are the CPUs used. All this you may do. But however much you may do, still it will be imperfect. But if you go to the manufacturer and ask him, can you give me the data sheet of this? Then he will give it. So that will be perfect. So when the manufacturer gives the knowledge, that will be perfect. Similarly, when Krishna gives the knowledge, it is perfect. Because he is the manufacturer or the creator of the whole world. So message of Godhead can be understood by realized souls who are coming in parampara. So Krishna gave knowledge to in parampara to different acharyas, and it is passed down to us. Right? Why practice Bhagavad Gita? Because it cleanses us from lower animalistic qualities, which are predominantly found in lower forms of life, like lust, anger, greed, which leads on to suffering. You see, lust, anger, and greed, they're pulling a person down, down, and down. And a person impelled by lust commits sinful activities, unwanted habits develop because of lust. By reading Bhagavad Gita, one becomes free from the effects of lust, anger, and greed. Bhagavad Gita helps us realize the purpose of life. Bhagavad Gita makes us practice and cultivate higher qualities of life. Higher qualities like study of the Vedas, austerity, sense control, spiritual knowledge. These are some higher qualities. Right? Self-control, contentment, and live in a mode of goodness, sattvika, jivana shaili. Gives us higher thinking, and ultimately the result is eternal joy. Okay. Now, how is Bhagavad Gita relevant in our life? So I have put these 3 points here. Bhagavad Gita is like a manual, Bhagavad Gita is like a map, and Bhagavad Gita is like medicine. Let's see how. So Bhagavad Gita is like a manual. Like just like you, when you get any machine, along with that comes a manual. When you read the manual, you know how to operate that machine. Similarly, our human life is given to us by God. And how to use this human life? What is the purpose of this human life? Is the purpose of human life to just enjoy, eat, drink, and be merry? Or is there any higher purpose? If yes, then what is that higher purpose? So to make us understand that, Lord has given us the manual. So this person is praying, oh Lord, please talk to me. Then the Lord says, yes, I'm talking to you through Bhagavad Gita. You read Bhagavad Gita, through Bhagavad Gita I talk to you. Right? So Bhagavad Gita is a talk for us. So when we read Bhagavad Gita, we should read it in a personal way. Just like Arjuna is there in this photo, you'll see Arjuna and Krishna and Arjuna standing here. So we should place ourselves in the position of Arjuna. Just take out Arjuna and put yourself and read as if Krishna is speaking to you. It will make a lot of sense. It will make a lot of difference. Right? Another way of reading is, oh, something happened 5,000 years back between Krishna and Arjuna. They discuss something. Let me study that. No. Make it personal. Think that as if whatever questions Arjuna is asking, it is your question. And whatever answer Krishna is giving, it's for me. In this way, when you read Bhagavad Gita, it becomes more interesting. Okay. So Bhagavad Gita is the manual for the battlefield of life. Arjuna was in the battlefield. We are also in the battlefield of life. There are challenges, there are obstacles, there are changes which come in our life, and we have to deal with it. And we also have to deal with birth and death, disease. So it's like a battlefield. So Bhagavad Gita will help us to deal with this battlefield. Second point is Bhagavad Gita is like a map. Right, nowadays, all of you are familiar with maps, Google Maps. You put the endpoint and it will show you how much time it will take and what is the route. So if in case you go take a wrong track, still again it will direct you to the right place. It will say take a U-turn, go back to the same road. So it will direct you. So that is GPS. Similarly, Bhagavad Gita is also GPS. You put the goal clear And Bhagavad Gita will help you navigate through this different routes to reach that destination. So it's like a map, right? So if you're, who can read Bhagavad Gita? Who must read Bhagavad Gita? If you're feeling restless, if you're seeking the meaning of life, want to be a better person, feel like something is missing in life, if you're feeling lonely, if you're searching for happiness, then you must read Bhagavad Gita. If for any of these questions your answer is yes, then please, you're at the right place. You're reading Bhagavad Gita. And you have these questions. How do we attain eternal joy? Why do bad things happen to good people? I'm such a nice person, but why bad things are happening to me? He was such a nice person. Why is he suffering so much in his life? Right? Bhagavad Gita gives an answer to this. Does God exist? Why are there so many religions, but only one God? Does destiny make us, or do we make our destiny? Is everything predestined? Who am I? And much more. So all these questions will be answered in this Bhagavad Gita. Okay. So basically, there are main 5 topics given in Bhagavad Gita. That is Jiva, Ishvara, Kala, Karma, and Prakriti. The 5 topics. Jiva means who am I? Ishvara means who is God. Kala means what is time. Karma means the cycle of action and reaction. And Prakriti, material world, nature, the creation. So these 5 topics are discussed thoroughly in Bhagavad Gita. So we'll be discussing these topics in the next 4 sessions in a different format. Generally, I discuss this one session, one topic, but here I'll be discussing the 4 essential truths of Bhagavad Gita. So these are the 4 essential points. This body is not all in all. Spirit, soul exists. This is the first essential teaching of Bhagavad Gita. So today we'll be discussing on this first point. Okay. Who am I? What is my identity? Am I just this material body made of flesh and bones, or am I something higher than this? Okay. And tomorrow we'll be discussing that this one life is not all in all. Afterlife exists. What after death? मरने के बाद क्या होता है? Is it the end, or life continues after death? So that we'll see tomorrow. And then this world is not all in all. Spiritual world exists. अरे सिर्फ ये जो दुनिया में देखता हूँ, the world which I see, is it all in all? The trees and the countries and the planets, is it all? Or is there something beyond this? Yes, Bhagavad Gita talks about this world and beyond. So Bhagavad Gita talks about this. It gives an indication about what is there beyond this dark universe. We'll discuss this on the day 3. And then, I am not all in all. Supreme God exists. We'll discuss about the Creator, the Supreme Lord in session 4. Okay. So these are the 4 topics we should be discussing in 4 sessions. And I'll be quoting many references from Bhagavad Gita, many stories from the Shastras like Mahabharata, Ramayana, and also some of the examples from the Acharyas we'll be discussing. Okay. So this was introduction. So in the next half an hour or so, I'll be discussing this topic of this body is not all in all, spirit, soul exists. Okay. Are you ready? We'll get into the first topic. If you're ready, please say yes in the chat box. Okay. We just want to know that all of you are attentive. It is said that the attention span in the modern age is reducing. The attention span is coming down. The attention span has come down to 8 seconds. Initially, it was 10, 12 seconds. It came to 8 seconds. It's coming down also further. So, and that too in online session where there is no videos, it is very difficult to know whether people are understanding. So, the chat box helps us out. Okay, many people have commented, yes, you're ready. So, let's try to understand the first topic. Who am I? What is my true identity? Am I this body or something beyond this body? Okay. Yes, many are giving thumbs up. Okay. This body is not all in all. Spirit, soul exists. Okay, we'll talk about this topic now. So, I saw some questions in the chat box as well. So, after I complete this topic in half an hour, then we'll take some questions from the chat box. And you can also ask questions by unmuting the mic also, but after half an hour. Okay. So this body is not all in all. Spirit, soul exists. You see this bright light in the heart of region of the heart. That is a soul, which illuminates the entire body. Right? Body is dark, but the soul makes it bright. A dead body has no brightness, but when the living body, when the soul is present in the body is bright. So it is said that generally a man between husband and wife there is good love and friendship. The wife likes the husband likes the wife. They both serve each other. They love each other. But when the husband dies, the wife also gets scared. Yavat pavano nivasati dehe tavat prachati kushalam yehe gatavati vayu deha paye bharya bhibyati tasmin kaye bhaj govindam bhaj govindam govindam bhaj mudhamate. As long as the soul is present in the body, the wife asks, "Are you okay? Do you want anything? Are you hungry? Can I give some food?" Nicely, the wife takes care of the husband. But as soon as the vayu leaves the body, prana vayu, along with the prana vayu, soul also leaves. So at the time, the wife asks, "Hey, wife gets scared. She cannot even stay for a moment in that room. She gets scared. She goes out of the room, locks the door, calls the relatives, please come, my husband is dead. So that creates fear. So as long as the soul is there in the body is attractive. But when the soul leaves the body starts decomposing, right? Even one day after death, body smells bad. But now because soul is present in the body is alive, it's fresh, right? So that is because of the presence of soul, right? This is spoken by Krishna and Bhagavad Gita. So the reference is Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, shloka number 13 onwards. So you will see actually from shloka number 11 onwards, shloka 11 to shloka 30, 11 to 30. So these 20 shlokas talk about our identity, soul. In 13th shloka, Krishna says, Te hinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yavanam chara tata dehantara praptir dhirastatra namuhyati. As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change, he says. Dehinaha asmin yatha dehe. So there is a word used called dehinaha, a person staying inside the body. So dehi, like there is ghar or griha. Griha means home. Grihi means a person staying inside the home, right? So grihi, grihini, that's how the words are used. So deha means body. Dehi means a person who is staying within this body. Who is that? Right? Who's staying inside me? I think I'm this, but who's there inside me? So Krishna says there is a person staying inside. So that is Atma. Atma is sitting inside the region of the heart and is controlling the whole body. Just like a driver sits in his driver's seat and then controls the entire car. A driver doesn't go and make the wheels rotate. Driver doesn't go and pump the engine. No, he's sitting in one place but controlling everything through the buttons and the steering, isn't it? So just like the driver sits in one place and controls the entire car, similarly, the soul sits in one place in the region of the heart and controls the body. He sees, soul sees through the eyes, hears through the ears, and eats through the tongue, touches and feels through the skin. right? Can the eyes see? Yes. What do you say? My question to you is, can the eyes see? Yes or no? If I just take out the eyes and say, okay, see, can it see? Or some are saying yes, some are saying no. Kushal, Piyush, Jain, they say no. Eye in itself cannot see. Yes, Anish Oraganti is writing. We can see through the eyes. That's correct. Eyes can't see, but we see through the eyes. Camera cannot see, but we see through the camera. Yeah, Piyush says eyes can't see without us. That's true. So who is the seer? I am seeing something through the eyes. Eye is an instrument through which I see, and the object which I see, suppose I'm seeing the screen now. So the screen I am seeing through the eyes. Who is seeing it? Who is the seer? The seer is Atma, soul. Correct? So try to understand the difference between the seer and the seen. The seen is this world. Whatever we see is this world. And what I am seeing is, through what I am seeing is the eyes. I am seeing the world through the eyes. The soul is seeing the world through the eyes. So the seer is the soul and the seen is the world around us. So this concept of seen and the seer has to be very clearly understood. So Krishna is saying here, Dehinaha, Asmin Yatha Dehe. So the soul is present in this body. The body keeps changing, but the soul never changes. See, the body changes like Kaumaram, Yovaram, Jara. Initially, the body is small baby body, it becomes young body, it becomes youth body, adult's body, and then finally it becomes old body. The body keeps changing, but the soul remains same. Just like a person may have a bike. After a couple of years, he may purchase a car. After a couple of years, he may purchase a helicopter, a private jet. So a person may change the vehicle he's traveling in, but the person remains the same. Similarly, the soul remains the same, but the body keeps changing. Okay. And at the time of death, Dehantara Prapti Dhiras Tatra Mohite. At the time of death, the soul goes to another body. So which we'll discuss tomorrow in detail. Which body it goes into, on what basis, okay, when, how, what happens after death. So we'll see this tomorrow. So today we are talking more about soul, the existence of soul. So when we ask you the question, who are you? Generally, when we meet first time, we ask, who are you? And what can be the likely answers? Can you put in the chat box? Who are you? Okay, I'm still getting a response. Tarun is saying, I'm soul. Yogeshwar is saying, I'm soul. Vaishnavi is saying, our name. Yeah, generally we say, my name is Suvarna Gaura Haridas, or your name is Vaishnavi. Okay, I'm from this state. I'm a man, I'm a woman, I'm a student, I'm an engineer, I'm a doctor, I'm a Manushya. Okay, I'm no one. Oh, but you're someone. I'm nothing, I'm just part of Paramatma. That's right. I'm a human being. Okay. Okay, Nandish says I'm nothing. Oh, so how can nothing say something? Means you must be something. We'll see about it. What is that nothing? What is that something? I'm part of nature. I'm Lokesh. I'm your friend. Oh, thank you for being my friend. So we are all servants of God. Fine. So we generally give these answers. But you see that this identification of the body, they keep changing. But the identity of the soul never changes. Okay. Like I'm a chain man name. It's possible. Everybody has different names. Like some of you may be having different names, right? In the certificate, you'll have one name. Friends call you by another name. Parents call you by another name, right? So in this way, there are different names for a person. You can keep changing, adding more names also. There is a person who has a name which is 1,000 words. Long name, the word record he has got. So names change, designations change. Now you're an engineer, tomorrow you may be an MBA. You may be a doctor now, tomorrow you may be a lawyer. One can change one's profession as well. But our real identity is that which cannot be changed. Okay, as many of you rightly said, the identity which cannot be changed is I am Atma. That remains constant. Because the spiritual identification is constant and bodily identification keeps changing. Now you are a son or a student or a daughter. Later you may become a mother or a father. Your identity changes, right? So in this way, material designations keep changing. So there was a scientist who made a research and he found out that the body has this many chemicals. A 60-pound person has 5 pounds of calcium, 1.5 pounds of phosphate, 9 ounces of potassium, and some amounts of sulfur, sodium, magnesium, iron, copper, iodine, like this. And he went to a chemist and asked, what is the cost of this? And the chemist said, 110 rupees. And he was shocked. My body is worth only 110 rupees. Is what must be the value of the eye? Maybe 10 rupees. So he wanted to have a new eye. He said, my eyes are black. I want to have blue eyes. I want to eye transplantation. Sir, can you give me blue eyes? I'll give 10 rupees. I said, hey, are you fool? Don't you know how much value is this? It's invaluable. But even if you want to have replacement, it will cost at least several lakhs of rupees. But how is the body worth 110? No, body is invaluable because of the presence of life. Right? Chemicals you may get purchase, but the life you cannot purchase. So life makes it valuable. You see here. So the soul initially enters the body of a young baby and grows to a boy, then adult, then becomes old, and finally when the body becomes invalid, the soul quits the body and goes to another body. So this is a cycle of life, birth to death. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jathare shayanam. Iha samsare bahudustare, kripaya pare pahe murare, bhaja govindam. Like this, Shankaracharya says that this chakra is going on, samsara chakra, cycle of birth and death, it's going on and on and on. There's no end to this. And when you get an end to this, that's called as moksha, mukti. So the goal of life is to attain moksha or mukti. So how to attain that? That's what Bhagavad Gita talks about. We'll discuss the path to liberation in the further sessions. There's another verse from the second chapter, 18th shloka. Antavanta ime deha nityasyoktaha sharirinaha anashino aprameyasya tasmad yudhyasva bharata. Krishna is telling, Antavanta ime deha. This body, deha, is temporary. It has got an end. Nityasyuktaha sharirinaha. But the soul staying in the body. Sharira, shariri. Sharirinaha means deha the ಒಳಗಡೆ ಇರುವವರು, person inside this body. Nityaha. The soul in the body is nityaha. It cannot die. Anashino aprameyasya tasmad yudhyasya bharata. Krishna says. So the soul is eternal. Soul is immeasurable, indestructible. So Krishna is telling Arjuna, fight, you'll do your duty. So in this way, Krishna speaks a lot about the soul in Bhagavad Gita. So for those who want to refer the verses of Bhagavad Gita, there is a website here called vedabase.io. So in that you can get the entire Bhagavad Gita. The same Bhagavad Gita which is there in my hand is available in the soft copy here. We will send a link of this in the WhatsApp. So you see, second chapter is Sankhya Yoga, contents of Gita summarized. In this, Krishna is telling the qualities of the soul. Yes, this is the 17th verse. We're discussing the 18th verse now. Antavante me deha nityasyuktaha sharirinaha anashino prameyasya tasmad yudhyasya bharata. The soul is indestructible. And Krishna even says that soul cannot be burnt by fire. That comes in the later verses. So we'll discuss Vasamsi Jiranani verse tomorrow. Yeah, 23rd verse says, Nayanam chindanti shastrani, Nayanam dahati pavakaha, न चैनं क्लेदयन्त्यापो न शोषयति मारुतः Nainam chindanti shastrani. The soul cannot be cut by any weapon. You cannot take a chaku and cut the soul. You can cut the hand, you can cut the heart, you can cut the body, but you cannot cut the soul because the chaku cannot even touch the soul. Nainam dahati pavakaha. The fire cannot burn the soul. You may put a bomb and explode the bomb, maybe nuclear bomb. That will burn the body, but the soul cannot be burned. Nacha enam klede yantyapo. You can drown the body and kill the body, but soul cannot be drowned in water. So water cannot touch the soul also. Na shosheti marutah. You cannot blow the air and dry up the soul. The air cannot touch the soul. So it means soul is indestructible. It's the indestructible element. Material elements can be destroyed, but soul cannot be destroyed by anything. Then soul is eternal. It's good news for all of us. Sometimes people are afraid of death. Sometimes people are afraid of future enemies, bombs, and many things. But when you understand this knowledge, you become fearless. Oh, I can never die. I'm eternal. That's good news for all of us. So it's such a wonderful thing. Krishna is revealing it. Right? Those who understand this concept of soul become fearless. They have nothing to fear because they know I'm not this body. The problems may come to this body, but the soul is aloof from this body. And why we experience suffering and pleasures and pain, it's because of connection. When the Atma is connected to the body, that causes pains and pleasures. Correct? So, for example, if you own something, when you own something, you feel connection to that, isn't it? Suppose you have a mobile phone. You think this is my mobile. And in case the mobile drops from your hand, it breaks, the screen gets a crack. It appears as if my heart has got cracked. One boy had got a new iPhone, and some of the iPhone slipped from his hand, it dropped down, and there was a crack on the screen. And he was so morose that it triggers so much money to repair, it takes 10,000 rupees. So in this way, he felt very unhappy. So that attachment causes that I, this is mine. And this concept of I and mine causes attachment, and that causes pains or pleasures. Like one person, he had parked his car in the parking lot. There are many, many cars, 20, 30 cars, and he had parked. So, and nearby there are people who are playing cricket. The boys were playing cricket, and they were hitting the ball. And some of the one person hit the ball, and the ball flew and hit the windshield of this car. And the owner was coming nearby. He saw, oh my God, my car's windshield broken. He came running. They were very angry. When he came near and he saw the windshield and he saw the car number, oh my God, thank God, it's not my car. Actually, there are two cars which are looking alike. So one was his car and the other was another car. So the other car had got hit, but from distance it appeared as if his car was hit. And then he got, mind was peaceful. Oh, it's not my car. Another's car. Uska car tootne do. My car is safe. So that when you have that identification of I minus, this mine, whatever happens to that also affects you. If somebody glorifies the car, you feel very nice. Oh, kya car hai, bahut badhiya car hai, first class car you have taken, wonderful. You feel so nice. Oh, somebody is appreciating me. And if somebody breaks that car, he feels as if his heart is broken, isn't it? Right. So that connection, that ahankara. So what is that connection? The connection between Atma and the body is ahankara. You might have heard of this statement word, ahankara. Aham means that feeling of mine. Aham, I and mine, that feeling. Ahankara and mamakara. Aham means minus, I-ness. Mamakara means minus. This I-ness and minus, that's called as ahankara. So that causes pleasure and pain. If something happens to another's car, you don't feel that pleasure and pain. Something happens to your car, you feel that pleasure and pain. So that is ahankara. So this body is mine. I think this body is mine. So something happens to this body, I feel pleasure or pain. So when you get free from this ahankara, I'm not this body, I'm spirit soul. then you're freed from the pleasures and pains of this body. I've read in book also, I've studied books of many yogis, some Himalayan yogis and Babas. So in that one, I read that one of the yogis, he knew this technique of meditation by which he withdraws his consciousness from the body, completely withdraws his consciousness from the body, such an extent that even if you do surgery on his body, he will not feel any pain. Without anesthesia, he will undergo surgery. So that was the kind of power they had. But they withdrew their consciousness from this body. And after the surgery over, they again bring back the consciousness. So they know how to control their ahankara. Correct? So this is a powerful technique. So this Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that soul is indestructible. So the body is made of matter, but the soul is spirit. Body has no consciousness, but soul has got consciousness. The body changes, but the soul has no changes. The body is temporary, soul is eternal. The body is dead, we are alive. Actually, body is dead. Because the soul is present, the body is acting alive. See, I'm speaking, I'm seeing, I'm able to move my hands. Why? Because soul is present. When the soul leaves, the body is dead. It cannot move. Now, if a living man can walk, he can jump. The body, the soul, body is heavy, right? The heavy body can be easily moved by the soul. But when the soul leaves, 4 people are required to lift the body. Ram Nam Satya Hai, Ram Nam Satya Hai, they carry, right? And I was in Kashi once and they're carrying Ram Nam Satya Hai, Ram Nam Satya Hai. Because the body has become, because the soul has left the body is heavy now. Body cannot move on its own. But as long as the soul is present, soul is so powerful that it can even make a heavy person also walk and move. That's the power of soul. Very beautiful photographs. Kindly look at this. See here, his body is compared to a machine. Actually, it is a machine. Krishna says in the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Yantra Rodhani Maya. He says, Yantra, this body is compared to Yantra. Yantra Arudha. The soul is sitting in this Yantra and controlling this body, Yantra. Soul is seeing through the eyes. You see camera here? Right? Soul is seeing through the eyes. Here also you can see the image. And soul is driving. So the stomach is like the engine, the legs are like the wheels. And all, of course, it's just an indicative figure. It's not exactly like this. Just to make us understand, this kind of figure is made here. In the region of the heart, the soul and super soul both are sitting. Super soul is just a witness. Upadrashta, Anumanta, Bharta, Bhokta, Maheshwara, Paramatmeti Japyukto Dehesmin Purusha Paraha. So this Paramatma described in 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. He is sitting in the region of the heart and observing the activities and the desires of the soul. And sometimes he sanctions the desires, sometimes he prohibits the desires, but he observes all the activities. So the soul is I am the soul. The body is mine. Okay, I am the soul and this body is mine. And Paramatma is my friend who is coming with me to guide me. And when we see from material point of view, we see only the cow or the man, elephant. We see just the material body is made of chemical bundle and everything is finished at the time of death. But when you see from a spiritual perspective, we see that actually they're all souls. Right now, this soul is engaged in the body of a cow. This soul is engaged in the body of human being and so and so. Okay. When the body dies, the soul continues to live in another body. So this is how we can understand. Have you seen any machine or a robot working by themselves? Have you seen any car moving on its own? Right? Have you seen any robot moving on its own, working on its own? No, some controller is there. He presses the button and it starts working. And who is that person who is pressing the button? Similarly, in this body, who is the person who is pressing the button that the body starts functioning? At the time of birth, button is pressed, start. At the time of death, another button is pressed, stop. So who is that? The soul. The soul is controlling actually. Right? Even the nature made of rivers, mountains, metals, minerals, chemicals, everything is also controlled by the Supreme Lord. Right? Just like we have this body, God has this big body. The whole universe is God's body. So everything is being controlled by Him. And even the cells in our life, body, they are also controlled by soul. Every 7 years, the cells die and new cells are born. So all the cells are replaced in 7 years. That's because of the presence of soul. Right? So just like the driver sits in the car and drives the car, similarly the soul sits in the body and drives the body. Right? For example, here you see that there is a camera recording a drama and the judge is watching the drama. When the camera is recording, it has no experiences. It doesn't have any emotions, no consciousness, no judging. But when a living person is seeing, he is experiencing the drama. So there's sometimes elation, sometimes sorrow, sometimes anger. So he is conscious and is able to judge. Oh, it's wonderful. It's a flop, right? Sometimes people watch a movie. They say, wonderful, super movie. And sometimes a flop movie comes in third class. So flop, don't go away, don't waste your money. Right? You can judge, but a camera cannot judge. Right? So because the soul is present in the judge, he is conscious. He is able to judge. But camera has no soul. So consciousness is a symptom of soul. Now the soul is trapped in the human body made of Panchamahabhuta, earth, water, fire, air, and ether. Just like the bird in the cage, we are also caught up in this cage of the body. The human body is compared to the cage, and the bird is the parrot. And if you don't feed the parrot will die. Similarly, if you don't feed the soul will be unhappy. Right? Now, all of you are attending this class. This is feeding the soul. And you'll eventually see that you become spiritually very happy, nourished, and free from all anxieties. That's the benefit of understanding Bhagavad Gita. And how to understand the presence of soul in some object? It should exhibit 6 changes. What are those 6 changes? These are birth, growth, maintenance, production of byproducts, dwindling, and death. These are the 6 changes. Like there's when you put a seed, the tree grows, right? Everything was big, then maintains for some time, produces fruits and further seeds, then starts dwindling and then dies. So a human being is born, he grows, then he maintains, he becomes an adult and maintains himself, and then produces children, then becomes old and dies. So wherever you see the 6 changes, life is present. In dogs also, animals also, you can see these 6 changes. So soul is present in the animals as well. These are the 6 changes. Yeah, this sloka I already quoted. That soul cannot be cut or burnt or dried or drowned. Right? So this is our identity. See, this is a very important slide here. So our gross body is made up of Panchamahabhuta, earth, water, fire, air, and ether. But inside there is a subtle body made of mind, intelligence, and ego, which we cannot see, but it is present. I can touch my body, but I cannot touch my mind. Mind is subtle. It is operating inside. I cannot touch my ahankara. Ahankara is subtle. The connection between the object and me, that ahankara. So mana, buddhi, ahankara, they are very subtle. And within that, there is soul, full of eternity, knowledge, and bliss. Sat, Chit, and Ananda. Sat means eternity, Chit means knowledge, Ananda means bliss. So Satchidananda Atma is covered by gross body and subtle body. Sthula Sharira and Sukshma Sharira. Now, is soul equal to God? No, soul is not equal to God, but soul is a servant of God. We are maintained by God. We cannot maintain others, but God maintains us. So Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam Eko Bahunam Yo Vidadati Kaman. Correct? So Lord is Nitya, we are also Nitya. Lord is Chetana, full of consciousness, we are also full of consciousness. But Lord is one and we are many. Eko Bahunam. Yo Vidadati Kaman. That one Lord is fulfilling the desires of all of us. Yaha Vidadati Kaman. So that is the difference between us and God. God maintains all of us. We are being maintained by God. Okay. We are also eternal. God is also eternal, but we are tiny. But God is great. We are like a drop of water in the ocean. God is like the ocean. God is like fire and we are a spark of fire. So that is the difference between us and God. Now, can you prove that soul exists? Yes. When we say when somebody dies, we say she has passed away or he has passed away. But if you see that whole body is lying there only, all the elements are still intact. Before death and after death, all the elements are still there. But what is that which has gone away? That is the soul. The soul has gone away. So that is the first proof by common sense. We can understand this, that somebody has gone away. Second thing, wherever there is soul, there is consciousness, thinking, feeling, and willing. Thinking, feeling, willing, and intentionality. Like here, the camera is taking a photograph, but camera can say, okay, it is red light or yellow light. But it cannot say whether it is beautiful or ugly. But when a human being sees, he says, wow, such a beautiful scene. I've never seen this in life. Beautiful, wonderful. So this is consciousness. Wherever there is consciousness, there is soul. The table. You have beat it, cut it, it will not respond. There is no consciousness in that. But if somebody pinches me, immediately I'll respond. Who is that pinching me? Because consciousness is present. So consciousness is a symptom of soul. And this out-of-body experience also people had. So when a person was lying in the bed in the hospital, operation theater, and actually he was put in anesthesia and surgery was being performed in operation theater. After the surgery was over, this person described the whole thing. After he came back to consciousness, he called the doctor. Doctor, I'm going to tell you what happened in the operation theater. So vivid details he told about the operation. You were here and you're standing on the right side of me, and then you asked for the scissor, and then you cut this thing, and then you operated, you were talking this and that. Everything he told in detail, and doctor was shocked. How do you know you are in full anesthesia? So then the patient said that actually I saw myself from top. You see this person, he's seeing himself from the top. And then he is observing himself. And later he was able to narrate all this. So this is about out-of-body experience. And some people are near-death experience. Here there are books about near-death experiences, journey of souls, near-death experiences. Sometimes people have good experience of near-death and some people have bad or terrific experiences of near-death. Right? Some people see Yamadutas coming at the time of death. They become very scared. They pass stool and urine also because of that fear. And some people who are very pious, very good people, they have experience of going through light, some deep tunnel full of light, full of peace. They go there and so again they come back. So they had that experience of heaven, but they could not go there. They again came back. So that's called near-death experience. Out-of-body experience is in this life only they see themselves being operated from above. So that's called as out-of-body experiences. So these are some of the proofs. I'll show you one video. Take break. Yeah, see this video. Miss Pam Reynolds.
Example, the case of Pam Reynolds.
It was not a real pleasant thing to see. I looked like what I was, dead.
When we return, how can Pam describe with startling accuracy the details of her own brain surgery? Her own operation.
Beginning to leak.
Down to temperatures of 20 degrees centigrades in the 60s of Fahrenheit. You can drain the blood out of the body so that you can operate in a field in which that large balloon can actually collapse.
Once the aneurysm...
So actually she had got some brain clogging at the base of the neck. Very difficult surgery. For this, you have to cool the body to low temperature. You have to drain out the blood from the body, and you have to make the patient unconscious, and you have to make the heart stop. A very complex surgery. Heart should be stopped, blood has to be drained, Again, the blood has to be refilled, and then the heart should be started. This is the kind of surgery. In that surgery, she had an out-of-body experience, and she could recollect what
That large blood-filled balloon, she now finds herself high above the surgical table where she sees the doctors using a long-handled device.
It looked like my electric toothbrush. If you can imagine the handle on my electric toothbrush.
Well, this is what is called the Midas Rex drill, and it is pretty much what Pamela described. And it's sort of in a toothbrush form. It is a saw that's used routinely in neurosurgery, and it's not something that is visible as you're coming into the operating room.
The fact is, the saw is only removed from its sterilized container after Pam has been under anesthesia for more than an hour. Dr. Spetzler says there is no way she could have seen it before the surgery began, nor afterwards. But Pam's remarkable description doesn't stop there.
At one
Hmm. I will share this video with you in the WhatsApp group. It is just 25 MB. It's about 9 minutes. So you can watch this. So she was able to recognize that drill saw, which after 1 hour of anesthesia, when she was completely eyes closed, ears were also unable to hear. At that time, she was able to recognize this. It's, yeah, somebody saying mind blowing. Yeah, this mind blowing experience which she had, and she told to the doctor, and that was published in the news. So in this way, there are many experiences of out of body and things like that, near death experience also. So by which we can have faith that soul exists. Okay. So basically, today what we discussed is, we discussed the introduction of Bhagavad Gita, what is significance of Bhagavad Gita and Mahabharata. Bhagavad Gita contains 18 chapters, 700 slokas, which is part of Mahabharata. When it was spoken, how it was spoken, to whom it was spoken, who spoke it, and what is the benefit of reading Gita, what is the relevance of Gita. Bhagavad Gita is like the map, Bhagavad Gita is like the medicine also. Bhagavad Gita cures the diseases of the heart, like lust, anger, greed. And Bhagavad Gita is like the manual. We discussed that. And then we entered into the topic of 4 topics of Gita. One is this body is not all in all, spirit, soul exists. So that we discussed today of how we are not the body, we are a soul, and we are connected to the body with ahankara. And whatever happens to the body affects us because of that ahankara. And what are the scientific benefits, scientific proofs of the soul? We discuss 3 of them. One is when somebody goes away, we say somebody has gone. Consciousness is the second proof. Third thing is near death and out of body experiences. We discussed this. And we also discussed about the 6 changes which is a living being undergoes, by which we can prove the existence of soul. So this was the first session, that this body is not all in all, spirit, soul exists. Tomorrow we will see what happens after death. Are there any proofs for reincarnation? Right? We will see from Bhagavad Gita, from Srimad Bhagavad Purana, and then also from scientific things we will be able to see. Okay. So now we open up for questions so that we can discuss some things. Okay. Yeah. Can Yashwant Guru, can maybe those who want to speak can raise their hands. We can unmute.
I have 2 questions which came in between the session project. I just noted it down side by. So first we will take them and So first question is from Pratik. So he's asking how to control over our anger. That is
yeah. Actually, the solution to this is given in Bhagavad Gita also. How to control anger. So actually, krodha, anger means krodha. How does krodha come? Krodha comes because of unfulfilled expectations. So if you see Bhagavad Gita, second chapter, it says, 50, ध्यायतो विषयान् पुंसा संगस्ते शोपजायते संगात् संजायते कामः काम क्रोधो अभिजायते. Right? When you think of some object for a long time, you become attached to that. Sangaha te shopajayate. Sangat sanjayate kamaha. And that attachment becomes strong desire. And when the strong desire is not fulfilled, you become angry. So the Krodha is called as Kamanuja. Younger brother of Kama is Krodha. So if one can control one's desires or have reasonable desires or expectations, then one can control anger. Right? Like child expects my father should give me a bike. But father says, no, I'll not give bike, I'll give only bicycle. He becomes angry. I wanted a bike. Why don't you give me bike? He becomes angry because his expectation is not fulfilled. Right? So one should have reasonable expectations from oneself, from others, then one can control anger. So how to control anger? First thing is reduce one's expectations from others, and one can improve oneself. Instead of expecting more from others, like if you want others to be a good friend of you, you start becoming a good friend of others. So in that way, start from working on yourself rather than expecting others. Then you'll be happy, right? So another thing is connect to Krishna, chant the Hare Krishna mantra. By chanting Hare Krishna mantra, what happens? One's mind becomes pacified, anger cools down. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Right? Just like there is fire in the corner, you put water, then it's extinguished. Similarly, when you chant the holy names, this Kama and Krodha becomes extinguished. Okay. So there is a brief answer to your question. What is another question?
Second question is from Ajay. So he is asking, sir, why can't we remember whatever happened in the last birth if the soul is the same?
Yeah, why don't we remember? Actually, we don't remember many things. That's how the world is designed, or body is designed. We don't remember. Do you remember what you ate on Saturday evening last week? You have to really scratch your head. Oh, what did I eat? What did I eat? We may recollect, sometimes you forget. And what did you eat? Same date, no? 1st of July 2022. What did you eat? Where were you? Oh, very tough question. We have to really scratch your head, go back to our calendar, find out where I was. Sometimes you forget. Many things you forget, actually. So that forgetfulness is one of the qualities of the body, material body. We forget. So in this life only we forget many things. Many subjects we read, so many books we have read, but we forget. After the exam is over, everything is forgotten. So similarly, we also naturally forget what happened in the past life. Right? We don't even remember what we did when we were 5 years old. Between 0 to 5 years old, very few details we remember. I remember only riding some tricycle in some lane, playing with some friends and mother. That's all. I don't remember many details till the age of 5. What to speak of beyond that? So the nature of this material conditioned soul, the soul in the conditioned body, the nature is to forget. Similarly, we forget what happened in the past life. But there are some people who remember what happened in the past life. That we'll discuss tomorrow. I'll show you some videos, some stories, real stories from some references also, by which we can understand that past life existed. Some people do remember in their childhood. And as the age progresses, they forget, but in the childhood, they remember. Okay. And it's good that we forget, because if you remembered how we died, who killed me, in case somebody killed me, who killed me, or what all negative emotions I had towards others at the time of death, it's very disturbing. So Krishna makes us forget. Apohanam mattaha smritir jnanam apohanam cha. Krishna makes us forget so that we can be peaceful. We can open a new chapter of our life. Like we have many books, right? We write one book, the whole book is full. Then We keep that and take a new book and start writing again. So every life is like a new book given to us. So we can keep writing neatly in the new book of the current life. Okay. Yes, Yashwant.
Okay. Next question is, does trees have soul?
Yeah, trees also have soul because they exhibit 6 symptoms. They are born, they grow, they maintain themselves, they produce fruits, byproducts, then they become old and then they die. So they also have soul, but the soul's consciousness is not exhibited properly. Because the consciousness is very covered. There are different types of consciousness. There is sankuchita, means covered consciousness. Like there are some stones also which are living. They're living stones. They grow, but they cannot speak, they cannot move. The trees, they also grow, but they cannot speak, they are move, but they can exhibit symptoms of life, right? Like there is photosynthesis, there is pumping of water, there is growth. The tender leaves come, they become older leaves. So the symptoms are there. They bend towards the sun, right? Touch me not. When you touch it, it withdraws. So symptoms of life are visible in the trees also, but they cannot speak nor walk. And higher than that is a species of animals who can walk, who can bark, who have advanced senses of smell and sight. Trees cannot see nor smell, but the animals can see and smell. But the animals cannot understand language. But humans are more advanced. We can understand language, we can speak, we can communicate. So humans are more advanced. Okay.
Next question is from Binduhul Vikyat. The question is being introvert is good or bad?
Yeah. So it is very subjective. It depends on person to person. Introvert is good if you are thinking of something meaningful, right? So there are people, even sages are quite introvert. They spend years together in the caves of the Himalayas, thinking about God, thinking about the welfare of the society, and by such wonderful contemplation, bhakti yogena manasi samyak pranite male apashyat purusham purnam mayam chatadapashram. As they also in seclusion, he thought, and finally came with a wonderful creation of Srimad Bhagavatam. So being introvert, but if you're introvert, then what you're thinking within yourself, that's also important. Subject matter is also very important. If you're like a sage, like Vasudev or yogis, then wonderful. But if somebody is introvert and is thinking of inferiority complex, I'm useless, I'm worthless, that's not good, right? Either you be introvert or extrovert, your thought should be positive. Your thought should be of doing welfare of the society, service attitude. So that is more important than being introvert or extrovert. I was also an introvert person. I'm still an introvert person, less of extrovert. But when needed, I speak. When no need, I just keep silent. That's my nature as well. Okay.
Okay.
Some people are raising their hands. Do they have a question?
Should I?
Yeah, you can
Take?
unmute as well. They can ask. Yeah.
Okay.
Are you able to unmute them?
Yeah, Piyush Jain.
Yeah.
Can you unmute yourself and ask the question?
Hello.
Yes. Hi, Push. Yeah.
Yeah, my name is Piyush. So, Prabhuji, I had two questions. Firstly, you spoke about attachments, right?
Ah,
Ahankara.
ah.
Like, if I have worked hard for money and I have bought a thing, and if it breaks, how should I not have attachment from it? I mean, how?
Hmm. Yeah, interesting question. It's practical question as well. So, if I get something, I'm attached to it and it breaks, how can I not have attachment to it?
Yeah,
It,
yeah.
it naturally is painful. Yeah, so Krishna says that some things which happen inevitably has to be accepted, right? So once I was, we went to this Kundapura beach, and we kept our clothes on the side. It was family trip. All the family had gone there, and one big wave came. Ooh, big wave came, and then it went up to our clothes and started dragging. Actually, my cloth it was dragging inside. My pants started floating in the water and going. I tried to go run inside behind and catch it. My mother
Yeah.
said, "Let it go." My mother said, "Let it go. Let the karma go." I said, "Don't you be safe. Let it go." So sometimes when such things happen, you let go, you'll be peaceful. But if you become attached, oh, my new pant, my new dress is gone, you become more. It pains you more. So sometimes in life you have to let go things. So then you'll be peaceful. But if you hold on to something which you cannot actually hold, because by the force of karma and force of time, it is being snatched away from you, let go. So we should know when where art of letting go, when you have to let go and when you have to hold. So when you know that art, then you'll be peaceful. You'll not be disturbed by attachment.
Uh, yeah. So we don't have to hold for the feelings, but we have to feel it for that time, right? For that period of time.
Hmm. Yeah, that for that moment you may feel,
Yes.
yes, oh, it is painful, but then you let go. Yeah,
Understand.
like
Understand.
like Arjuna, he was affected when Abhimanyu died, right? So Abhimanyu, it was the 13th day of the battle,
Yes.
12th day of the battle, I guess. So Abhimanyu went inside the Chakravyuha. He was a young boy, 16-year-old, younger than all of you, I think. He went inside. He fought alone with all the warriors, Karna, then there was Drona, then there was Shakuni, and there is Dushasana. So many people. He fought alone with all of them. He even defeated most of them, but they cheated and they killed. And Arjuna was not there. He was far away somewhere fighting with another set of soldiers. In the night when Arjuna returned, everybody was silent. Nobody was speaking. Krishna was also silent. Yudhishthira was silent. And Arjuna was thinking, what happened? Why is everybody so silent and everybody so morose? And looked here and there, and he saw his son's seat was empty. Then Arjuna broke down. He understood what has happened. Abhimanyu was scared. He broke down. He started crying. Pitiably, he started crying. So the whole night went in so much pain. But you see, the next morning, how was Arjuna? Arjuna said, um, I will teach them a lesson. These people they have killed, they have cheated and killed my innocent son. I will teach them a lesson. So next he took a vow to kill Jayadratha. So then he mounted the chariot and he fought. So a self-realized person may be overcome a momentary grief, but that will not stop his duty. He will be fixed in his duty. That will not disturb his dutifulness. Yeah. Does it answer your question, Piyush? Okay. Are you able to hear me? Okay,
You
the
are
two
audible.
hands. Yeah, Vinay and
Yeah.
Bhiman.
Yeah. Vinay can unmute and or Abhiman also.
Yeah. Okay, are you able to unmute yourself, Vinay or Abhiman?
Okay.
Okay, you can ask questions from the chat.
Which are there in tab chat. Okay.
Uh, Pranam Guruji.
Abhiman, pranam.
So Guruji, my question is, so once a soul takes up a body, so it undergoes many cycle lives like birth, death, until the soul attains moksha. So why is this really necessary, Guruji? My question is
Yeah,
this.
Yeah. So this is a point of discussion tomorrow. We'll begin with this. Why the soul came here to this material world. Right.
Okay.
So to answer in brief, like son is happy at home, children are happy at home, but the child thinks, let me go out. Curiosity. Let me go out and enjoy this world. But parents say, no, don't go out. It's very dangerous. You're very happy here. Nice palace you're building, nice food to eat. Everything is happy here. But this child is adamant. He goes out, he takes some pocket money and goes out and enjoys. After pocket money is over, he has to again come back. Right? So similarly, the soul, out of curiosity and out of free will, he leaves the company of God. Then he comes to this material world where he undergoes cycle of birth and death. इच्छा द्वेष समुत्थेन द्वंद्व मोहेन भारत सर्गे यान्ति परन्तप. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that out of desire and hate he comes to this material world. Desire to enjoy separately from God, free will, independent free will. He comes to this world. There he undergoes cycle of birth and death. But once he realizes, so I cannot be happy here. I can be happy only in the company of God. Then he starts going towards moksha. Okay. So when he attains moksha, there is no more birth and death.
Thank you,
That's in
Guruji.
brief answer. We'll discuss more tomorrow.
Okay.
Yes.
Can I ask questions from
Yes.
chat? Okay. So, question from Ajhal Raj. Is this true that human soul can be born again in human form in the next birth, Janam, if he had done good deeds in his past life?
So, yeah, it's sometimes the soul takes birth as human if he has done pious activities, good activities. But in case the soul has done sinful activities, papa karma, then he's born in animal life, or like a tree or a bird or an animal. And if he has done very good, exceptionally good activities, then he will be born as a devata in Swarga. Right? It's possible. Urdhvam gachanti sattvastha, madhye tishtanti rajasa, jaganya guna vrittistha, adho gachanti tamasaha. So Krishna speaks this in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 14, where he says that those who are pious, they go up, those who are sinful, they come down. And those who are mediocre karmas, they born again in the human planets, right? So that Krishna talks in Bhagavad Gita. So we'll discuss more about this: who goes up, who goes down, who stays in the same place. That will come tomorrow as well. Next question.
Piyush,
Hello.
you want to ask?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, sorry, my network was pretty bad. So,
Yeah.
So other question I wanted to ask is, the body doesn't run on its own. It needs a soul to, run it, right? So if I have to assume I have to go and study, how do I make my soul to go and study? I mean, not with increasing attention towards social media and other distractions.
Yeah.
How do I control my feelings, emotions, and yeah.
Yeah, very true. So let me just. So are you able to see the screen? Oh, I just closed it. Just a minute. I want to make a drawing here. See. So this is a soul. Okay. Now soul is covered by there is intelligence. Then there is mind. Then there is senses. Okay, this is how the connection is there. Now, senses are actually working senses. They are doing action. The eyes, the hand, the legs, or they are the senses, ears, mouth. They are connected to the mind. Mind is connected to intelligence, and soul is actually the owner of all this. And soul dictates the intelligence. Then intelligence dictates the mind, and mind dictates the senses. Now, if this mind is and senses are attracted to sense objects, okay, 5 in number, right? For the eyes, for the nose, there is different sense object, and for skin, ears, right, and the tongue. So for each one, there is different sense objects. So the senses are attracted to these sense objects, and you want to study, but eyes want to see a movie. Eyes want to see a movie, but actually we are supposed to study the book, read the book, because the senses are uncontrolled. The eyes are going wandering, the wandering eyes, and then the roaming ears, and ears want to hear music, but they don't want to hear the lecture. Similarly, the tongue wants to taste bhel puri, pani puri, chaat masala, but it's exam time. You have to sit and study, but tongue wants to taste something else. In this way, we get distracted. So for that, the senses should be strong. How to strengthen the senses? That for that, mind should be strong. Okay, mind is storage of thoughts and impressions. We'll discuss this tomorrow as well. Mind has got negative thoughts and positive thoughts. If the mind is filled with negative thoughts, then mind is weak. It cannot control the senses. Even if eyes are going in the wrong direction, mind cannot stop it. But if mind is strong, it can pull the senses. Come, come, come. Don't go there. Study now. So we have to strengthen the mind. How to strengthen the mind? By meditation, right? By chanting of mantras. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. It's by repeatedly chanting the mantras, the mind becomes controlled and strong. Then it can control the senses. And then the intelligence also should be sharp. How to have sharp intelligence? By reading Shastras. What is sharpness? This is right and this is wrong. I should do the right, I should not do the wrong. That different discrimination of right and wrong should be there. That comes by reading Bhagavad Gita. Okay. When you read Bhagavad Gita, you get good discrimination. By chanting, you get good determination. So then the soul can act through the intelligence, mind, and the senses and control all these senses. So this is a technique given in Bhagavad Gita. So right now the soul is simply sitting in as a passenger in the vehicle, but the mind and senses are taking a ride. They are not listening because mind is weak. Mind is not listening to the soul. It is listening to the senses. Okay. So we are supposed to listen to the soul, but the mind is weak. That's why it's listening to the senses. When you strengthen the mind by chanting, by meditation, then it starts obeying the soul's order and then acts properly. Okay. Till the mind is uncontrolled, we cannot act properly. We have to control the mind and then control the senses. Is it clear, Piyush?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have to start practicing it. Once you start practicing meditation, chanting of mantra, reading Bhagavad Gita regularly, then you will see that grip over the senses will come. When you get the grip over the senses, then senses will do what you want to do, not what they want to do. Okay. Yes.
So
Yashwant,
next,
yeah.
the next question is from Manjunath. Why people leave us after we give so much love and care for them? This is disturbing me.
Why people leave us? Yeah, see, generally nowadays people come together and they live together and they leave also quickly. There's a culture of live in. So actually, those who leave us, it means actually they didn't love us. Better be with those who love you rather than running behind somebody who doesn't love you. Try to live with those who love you, then live more happy and peaceful. And one boy was got attracted to another, one boy was attracted to a girl, but the girl had another boy whom she loved. And this boy was thinking that no, she loves me, she'll marry me. But finally, she ended up marrying him. And he was broken down. My God, I thought she loves me. She is my heart and soul, uh, my dream girl. But she left me. What I should do? Then he got suicidal thoughts. He went into depression. He could not get sleep. 7 days he could not sleep. He called me on phone in one of the sessions like this. He got my number somewhere and he called me. Prabhu ji, नींद नहीं आ रहा है, क्या करूं मैं? So, this is what happens. So when you have wrong definition of love, so better he has left or she has left. Be happy. There are other friends. Even if nobody is there, God is there. Connect to Him. Chant His names. Be happy. Right. So this is the nature of this world. People come and go in your life. You cannot stop it. Right. Everybody comes and goes in your life. Just like a train journey. You're in a train journey. You book a berth. You sit in the berth. When you're traveling, some people are around you. And when different stations come, different people get down. One by one, everybody gets down. Finally, you also get down. So that is the nature of the world. Nobody is permanent in this. No relationship is permanent. Everything is temporary only. So some people come together, then separate, like hotel chair. So on the table, many people are sitting on the chair. So they come together, sit, eat, and then disperse. Another group comes, sit, disperse, never to meet again. So this life is also like that. यथा प्रयान्ति संयान्ति श्रोतो वेगेन भालुका संयुज्यन्ते व्युज्यन्ते तथा कालेन देहिना. There's the nature of this world. People come and separate. Only constant person with you is God, Krishna. Krishna is there always. He can never cheat you. He is always there. So try to develop that connection to Krishna. He will never cheat you. He will never leave you. We may leave him, but he will never leave us. Okay.
So the next question is from Vinay. How to join ISKCON?
Yeah, so ISKCON follows certain principles. We follow the principles given in Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. We chant the holy names of Lord. And our mission is to propagate the message of Lord. Right? Nowadays, we see that even our own country people don't know what is Dharma. They don't know what is Bhagavad Gita. Right? So what is the lessons of Bhagavad Gita? Who spoke Bhagavad Gita to whom? That even basic things are unaware. So ISKCON is one of such organizations which is actually propagating our own knowledge to our people, the Indians. And not only in India, but all over the world. This is the mission of our ISKCON, International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Okay. And I joined as a volunteer for ISKCON. I started practicing since 18 years. So the last 10 years, I joined as a volunteer full-time in ISKCON and actually trying to propagate this message to whomever I meet. So through programs online, through offline, like that. So to do this, we also need to understand and practice these things. It's not that we just give a lecture. No, we have to practice it. Then only we can propagate it. So the mission of ISKCON is to practice and propagate our Sanatan Dharma based on Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. So if somebody is interested, so you can contact us. You can contact your nearest temple, and you can start understanding and start practicing. So once you start practicing, then you will like it. Then you may want to also propagate it. So as per your capacity, you can propagate it. So that's how you can join the ISKCON movement. Okay. So that's in brief answer to this question.
Yeah. Next question is Omkar is asking, I want to know about worshipping idols.
Yeah. So idols, actually, idols are generally is an English term for murti or vigraha. Idol is not a proper term because idol means any stone carving is called an idol. But actually, when we worship in the temple, we call it as vigraha, Shri Vigraha, Archa Vigraha. And there's a different meaning actually. Archa Vigraha means Sakshat God, Sakshat Krishna is present there. Like right now, I am near Udupi here. So Udupi Krishna is present here. So Sakshat Krishna, he came here about 1000 years, 800 years back, and manifested to Madhvacharya. And even after 800 years, people are worshipping, and Krishna is reciprocating. He is not dead stone, he is living, he is present. Like this, there are so many temples across India in different places where the temple, the deities are installed and worshipped. Correct. So they are Sri Vigraha, Archa Vigraha, and God is present there. So what is this Vigraha? And any stone or wood or metal is taken and it's carved according to the scripture, according to the description in the scripture, and then Prana Pratishtha is done. Lord is requested, oh Lord, please come and stay. You are there everywhere, but we cannot see you. Please manifest in a way we can see you and serve you. So the Lord comes in the Vigraha, and then he's present there, and he receives our worship. Okay, so Lord comes in a manifest form in front of our eyes and receives our worship. So that is Vigraha Seva. And some people ask the question, God is everywhere, why do we need a temple or a Vigraha? Yes, God is everywhere, but can we see him? We don't have the adhikar to see him. Some elevated souls, one or two may be able to see God everywhere, but we are not qualified to see him. So what Krishna does, he comes and manifests himself in front of us to receive our worship. Okay. So in general, most of us are not so advanced. So we need temple, we need vigraha, or idols or deities, so that we can worship them. And through that we can become more close to God. Okay.
Vinay is asking that can we print tilak?
Can we print?
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah, printing in the sense that we put tilak on our forehead, right? So you may be asking tattooing. Yeah, tattoo also people put. That was there in the Vedic culture also. They used to print the names of Krishna, like Sri Ram, Sri Krishna on there, and or sometimes they used to put Shankar Chakra also. They'll stamp. So that is also allowed. That is bona fide. So, but it should be put in the upper part of the body, not in the lower part of the body. In the upper part of the body, you can stamp the names of the god or the symbols of the Lord, Shankar, Chakra, Gada, Padma. Those things can be printed, or even one can even stamp it. Okay, the general standard is to put a tilak with Gopi Chandan on the forehead and different parts of the body. So that is safe. Okay, that is standard practice.
Okay. Next question is from Shri.
Hmm.
Prabhuji, whenever I have an examination and want to study, I don't feel to study the syllabus. Instead, I feel like listening to devotional songs or read any book related to Krishna or engage my mind in devotional thinking. Is it the right or wrong to feel this during examinations?
Yeah. So it is a good thing to read and hear devotional music and hear devotional lectures. It's good practice. But when the duty calls us, if it is a duty to study for the exam and write the exam, we should do that duty also. Example is Arjuna. Arjuna listened to Bhagavad Gita in the beginning of Kurukshetra. And for next 18 days, there is no lecture. He was just into action. Whatever he had read, he was implementing it. He didn't say, Krishna, I'm very tired. Please sing some song. I want to listen to devotional music. No, fighting, akraman. So when the duty calls us, we should do duty. Understanding that the duty is also for Krishna. Duty is also devotion to Krishna. If you become negligent in that duty, then it is a disservice to Krishna. So we should do the duty properly. Right? So yeah, as you're a student, you do your studies. If you are a professional, you're doing a job, and your job is also an act of devotion, because if the job gets disturbed, then your devotional service also may get disturbed, right? And both are connected, right? We are not so pure that even if my job goes away and then I'll be spiritual. No, it disturbs. So better do your job decently, be pakka in that, so that you can have time for your own devotion, correct? So in the weekends, you can come to temple, you can attend Bhagavad Gita classes, satsang programs. So you should have a balance between work life and devotional life. Okay, Shri.
The next question is from Pankaj.
Hmm.
Sir, Radhe Radhe Prabhuji. Sir, my question is how to get out situation where much negativity is there, but situation makes us to stay there. We cannot move from there.
Hmm. Yeah, such things may happen sometimes in hostel. You're staying in the hostel. If I don't know whether you're staying in hostel also, but generally I've seen, and the neighbors are there, friends are there. They're playing loud music in the midnight also, and they're also disturbing. They don't sleep early. They sleep at 4 a.m. in the morning. You want to sleep early, but you're not able to. So disturbing environment is there, but you're not able to cope with it, nor you can leave it. So such kind of situations may come, or you're in a room sharing with the other three people, and then they're discussing something nonsense, and you're getting disturbed. You want to study, so you cannot get out also, and you cannot stay there also. Such kind of things may happen, but you have to. In the long term, it is not good. You have to find a way out. Maybe you can shift to a PG, which is more peaceful, or a single room where people don't disturb you. We also have some youth hostels, youth centers near some colleges. So one may shift there also. If you are in a good environment, devotional environment, you can be peaceful. You can chant, you can read Bhagavad Gita, you can attend Bhagavad Gita classes. So all this is possible in a devotional environment. So ISKCON is also trying to create such facilities. In Bangalore, we have about 10 centers across city. So you can choose the nearest center. You can contact Yashwant. He can guide you. So even in Karnataka, we have different places in Mysore, in Mangalore, in Manipal, in Dharwad, in Gulbarga, Hubli, many places, Raichur, different places we have. So you can find out your nearest place where you can get good association, and you can change your environment eventually. So in a better environment, you can flourish. Okay.
Lokesh want to ask question. Lokesh, can you unmute and
I think this can be the last question for today. We have some other meeting as well. So then other remaining questions you can note down. Tomorrow you can take.
okay.
Yes,
So,
Lokesh.
Guruji, some anyone want to harm others can harm others for bad or good sake.
You're asking animals,
Animals not, Guruji. Humans only.
humans
People want to
harm
harm
animals.
humans
Okay.
want to harm others. They can harm others. People.
So humans want to harm others. Can they harm? Is it right? You are asking that question?
Yes, sir. Yes, Guruji.
Yeah. So generally causing pain to others is not good, isn't it?
It's not good, Guruji. ಈಗ ಬ್ಲ್ಯಾಕ್ ಮ್ಯಾಜಿಕ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ ದಟ್ಸ್
ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ ಮ್ಯಾಜಿಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅವರು.
ಆ ತರ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಏನು ನಿಜನಾ ಹಂಗೆ?
ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ ಮ್ಯಾಜಿಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಕೆಲವೊಬ್ರು. ತಂತ್ರ ವಿದ್ಯೆ ಅಂತಾರೆ, ತಾಂತ್ರಿಕ ವಿದ್ಯೆ. ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ ಮ್ಯಾಜಿಕ್ ಇಂದ ಬೇರೆಯವ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಮಾಟ ಮಂತ್ರ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ದೇ ಡೂ ದಿಸ್ ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ ಮ್ಯಾಜಿಕ್ ಆನ್ ಅದರ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಪವರ್ ಇಸ್ ದೇರ್, ಬಟ್ ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿ. And that negative energy will act on people who are weak. But somebody who is very spiritually strong, who is reading Bhagavad Gita, who is pure and clean, black magic cannot do much disturbance to him. In fact, it will go back and harm that person. ಯಾರು ಮಾಟ ಮಂತ್ರ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಅಟ್ಯಾಕ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಭಗವಂತನ ನಾಮಸ್ಮರಣೆ, ಜಪ, ತಪ, ಶುದ್ಧತೆ, ಪವಿತ್ರತೆ ಕಾಪಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ರೆ ವಿಲ್ ನಾಟ್ ಬಿ ಅಫೆಕ್ಟೆಡ್ ಬೈ ದೋಸ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್.
ಅದೇ ಗುರುಜಿ, ನಮ್ಮ ಮನೆ ಕಡೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹಂಗಾಗಿತ್ತು, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಕೇಳಿದೆ.
ಹಂಗೆ ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಇದ್ರೆ ನರಸಿಂಹ ಮಂತ್ರ ಜಪ ಮಾಡಿ, ಹರೇ ಕೃಷ್ಣ ಮಂತ್ರ ಜಪ ಮಾಡಿ, then that effect will eventually reduce. Don't have to fear. Okay. So fine. Thank you very much for your patient listening. I still see many people here. So many of the questions are very interesting, very brilliant. I'm very happy to interact with such an interested crowd. So be in touch. Tomorrow we'll discuss more. And tomorrow evening, 6 o'clock, we'll discuss the second topic. This life is not all in all. Next life exists. So come back tomorrow. And some of the unanswered questions I'll take tomorrow. Okay. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, all of you, for spending so much valuable time. So we'll be closing this. So you can start leaving. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.